So good morning. Good morning. Glad everybody came through. So what I'm going to talk about really quickly is good leaders put people in a position to be successful. And what we're going to talk about is from an organizational standpoint, if you're a leader in an organization, one of the ways in which you can have a lot of success is you can put people in position to be successful. So the question I want to ask the people that are listening, are you in a leadership capacity, not only from a business standpoint, but maybe from a relationship standpoint, from a family standpoint? How are things structured in your life where you're in a leadership standpoint to where you need other people to do well for you to be successful? So what I'm asking the audience, are any of you in that particular area of your life? If so, hit me with a 1 in the comments, because that's primarily what we're going to talk about. And so that's who this video is going to be aimed towards. And if you're not currently there, but you desire to be there in the future, this video will be good as something that you can use as a resource to apply to your life later on in life. So that's who this particular video is for. Everybody else, you're on the wrong video. You can probably go watch people pop the balloon. So really quickly, while people are answering that question, this particular show is being sponsored by www.thehighestpaid.online Option Trading Academy. To give you a heads up, the legacy options courses will no longer be available after the first of the year, 2026. We're going to go ahead and pretty much close that capsule. So look forward to some specials and some promos around that, because we're getting ready to close off that capsule, probably for good, because we're going to move in another direction with the business model. So we're going to give people an opportunity to kind of just get the content for a really, really attractive price, because we're no longer going to be selling that. And because we've kind of ran that for an extended period of time, but it's going to kind of tap into apply what we're talking about here. So the question I want to ask again to the audience, are you in a position to where you're in a leadership capacity, business-wise, family-wise, or you desire to be? Hit me with a 1 in the comments. Okay, thank you to Miss Brittany Barnett, Miss Dawn, okay, Ice Coco. And so one thing I want you to understand, and we're going to kind of get into it, is part of leadership is not being passive and being engaged. And so you got to kind of ask yourself, what are some of the elements of a leader that are going to allow me to be successful? Leaders are not passive. They're actually engaged in what's going on. We have a world through a lot of people who've kind of been programmed, especially through the internet, but the TV really started it, is that the world could kind of be set up to where I just sit back passively and things just happen for me. That's not really how you're going to be in a good position of leadership. You have to be engaged in what's going on. So one of the easiest ways for you to separate yourself from the pack and be an effective leader is just to be engaged, because the majority of the population, they're just vegged out. And so what I want you to understand is the way to really separate yourself from the pack and to make sure that you and your group are successful is you don't have to really do a lot, because so many people are doing so little. And because they figured out how to monetize the large amount of people that are doing so little, there's really no financial incentive to improve the lives of those people. So we just talked about yesterday, OpenAI is going to go into the pornography business. A large amount of people are going to get caught up in that because they're already caught up in it. So you don't have to worry about competing with those people, because they're just going to sit on the internet all day and watch pornography. So what I want you to understand is that you are a lot of times being sold a defeatist message that you can't be successful. The way this world is built, if you just do small things consistently, you'll separate yourself from the pack, because the average person is passive, they're disengaged, they're apathetic, so they're never going to be your competition. So all you got to do is just make your mind up that you're going to be consistent and engaged for an extended period of time, and you'll separate yourself from the pack. It's really that basic. It really is, because most people are sitting back, wait for somebody else to do something before they do it. So this is what I want you to understand. This is a very easy way. I'm not anybody special. I'm not anybody brilliant. I'm not a genius. It's just I wake up every day and I pretty much do the same thing over and over and over again. And I don't allow myself to get distracted. And I do stuff even when I don't feel like doing it. And I do stuff even when I don't feel good. That's why I say the reason why a lot of these people are not raising their children, because they only want to raise their children when they want to. And children is a 24/7 job, but they only want to do it when they want to. This is why they never should have had no children. So what we're talking about is good leaders put people in a position to be successful. Question you want to ask yourself is, can you evaluate what is needed for group success? Do you have the ability to evaluate that? And I'm going to give you the story of two different players. do you have the ability to evaluate what's needed for group success? So first, to do that, you have to know where you're trying to take the group. What are the goals of the group that we're in? What are the goals? Because if we don't know what the goals are, then anything works. So you see why the world looks the way it looks, because most people don't have a goal amongst their group of where they're trying to go. Their goal is, how do we make it to the weekend? Their goal is the drugs they want to take. Their goal is who I want to have sex with next. Their goal is the gossip they want to tap into. Their goal is who they want to be mad at. So these are real simple things to do that don't involve other people. When you have goals that involve other people having to be successful, for you to be successful, you got to now start thinking different. So then the question is, can you evaluate what is needed for group success? Do you have the ability to evaluate it? So let me give an example of what I mean. So we're looking at Reggie Bush, right? Some of y'all may not know who he is. Some of y'all may know who he is. And some of y'all may only know him for dating Kim Kardashian. He was drafted 2nd overall to the Saints. Now, we're going to take it from a business aspect. The reason why he went 2nd overall to the Saints is because the Texans didn't want to pay him. Okay, so he was considered the best player in the draft that he came out of. The Texans didn't want to pay him what he wanted as far as deal structure. Therefore, he went to the Saints. So what do we know now? The Saints agreed to his terms. So what does that mean? It means the Saints wanted him. He goes to the Saints, but he never has the career in line with the kind of talent that he was. And one of the reasons is because of the coaching staff there. So if you look at his numbers for the Saints, first year he got drafted, he got 565 yards. Second year, he got 580. Third year, he got 404. 09, they got 390. Why would you draft somebody 2nd overall if you're not going to give him the ball? This makes no sense. If you're not going to hand them the ball, why draft him? So one of the things that we saw with Reggie Bush and the Saints is he was never given the ball enough to be successful. Okay, let's look at Bijan Robinson. He was drafted top 10. I think he was 8 overall. But if you look at him with Atlanta, he's getting the ball because what Atlanta does is they put him in position to be successful. So what I want you to understand is that it's a different perspective in the way in which you look at things. The Saints drafted a guy 2nd overall and didn't really evaluate what he brought to the table and how that fit into what they did. Atlanta drafted a guy, I think he was 8th or 7th overall, but their attitude is that how can we put him in position to be successful? Because that's going to allow us to be successful. So it's a different perspective. To me, the Saints wasted Reggie Bush's career. He got paid, but they wasted his actual career because he was extremely talented, but they just wouldn't give him the ball. Why draft the guy 2nd overall if you know you don't want to give him the ball? So we start talking about team need versus best player available. Something we talk about in football is, are we going to draft to what we need on the team, or are we going to draft to the best player available at that time? It's just different. It's a difference in philosophy. When you are a leader and you're looking to put together an organization, are you looking for somebody that is extremely talented and you think you can fit them into what you're doing? Or are you looking for somebody that fits into what your team needs? Right? And you want to be able to answer that question because then it determines what kind of person you're looking to add to your team. Some people believe if we're looking to draft players, we just go after the best person on the board and we'll bring him in and fit him into what we do. Some other people believe we got a need for a certain player, and so we'll move out of a position because we know we don't need somebody else. So we'll move out to make sure we get what we need. It's just a difference in philosophy. But when you're looking to put together an organization that's supposed to lead to group success, you want to ask, is it team need versus the best person that's available? And then how do we evaluate that? Next question. Have you ever helped somebody to success? This is a really, really big question people got to ask. And this is what I tell a lot of people, but especially a lot of women, right? Because we have these relationship spaces on the internet where people get to sit back and complain about their past relationships. If everybody that you've ever dealt with and they're not doing well, it says more about you than it says about them. I'm going to repeat myself. If your whole life, every person that you've dealt with in a relationship, they don't have nothing going for themselves. If you've been with somebody for 7 or 8 years and they ain't got nothing going for themselves, that speaks more to you than it speaks to them. Because what it shows is that you don't have the ability to help nobody become successful. I would never get on the internet and tell people I was in a relationship with somebody for 8 years and they was a bum the whole time I was in a relationship. Because why? That make me a bum too. But the internet allows people to get away with that kind of conversation because we can monetize these failures the same way we can monetize people's impulse or lack of impulse control. And we can monetize their lust by selling them porn all day. The question you want to ask yourself is, have you ever helped somebody to become successful? And if you haven't, then how do you know you can do it? So what is your track record of helping other people become successful? What's your track record? Because many people have no track record. But for some reason, they think they know what somebody else needs to do. Okay, once you get past a certain age, you telling me you haven't helped anybody become successful? All you got is stories of situations crashing out and negative stories. So that means you're not good at helping people. That's what it means. Now, I can say that because I don't have a platform that's designed to monetize people's relationship failures, right? I'm not a relationship coach. I'm not a life coach. I talk about the markets. I talk about business. So if you're going to apply for a job in business, managerial, and they say, well, what have you done in the past that's similar to what you're asking to do right now today? And all you can talk about is things that didn't work out and didn't do well. Why would we hire you? So I want you to be very wary of all you can talk about is failures in what you've done, and you can't talk about any success stories. And you use your failures as your brand. That's how you connect with people, is all the failures that you've had because you have not been able to help anybody to success. Next thing, bad fits should not happen at certain levels. At the NFL level, they should not be drafting Reggie Bush and you don't have anywhere to use them. Because you pay too much money for scouts. You pay too much money for video breakdown. You shouldn't be bringing a guy in and you don't know how you're going to use him and you don't know whether or not he works in what you do. And it wasn't that there was a coaching change. They brought the guy in and didn't know what to do with him. There's no such thing as a bad fit at a certain level. It means that y'all don't know what y'all doing. So if you're really good at certain stuff, there shouldn't be a bad fit because there should be an evaluation of what we're doing before we bring the person in. So I don't believe in this bad fit stuff unless we're dealing with rookies. If you don't know what works, see, first you got to know what you bring to the table. And then how does what you bring to the table help somebody else? Well, a lot of people think the situation's supposed to go is that I'm in a leadership capacity and that I'm going to dictate to what everybody else does. No. How does what you bring to the table help those other people so they can help you? So again, if you have never helped anybody become successful, you don't know how to do that. But bad fits shouldn't happen at certain levels. You shouldn't be hiring people and they don't last 90 days. I don't believe teams should hire coaches if they don't last 5 years. It means you hired the wrong person, which says more about you than it says about the person that you hired. So I don't believe in this concept, or, it just was a bad fit. No. Again, people think bad fits means it's not supposed to work. It doesn't work immediately. If you look at LeBron James when he went to the Heat, that didn't work the first year. In fact, they lost the championship. But unlike what most of y'all would do, they didn't allow other people to tell them they should fall out. They sat down and figured out how to make it work. Because they didn't let other people outside of them let them tell them how it should go. A lot of y'all, you're trying to put together a successful group, but everybody and their mama got some input of what you're trying to do. Well, they're not part of it. So what does that mean? But y'all bringing what other people, they're not part of this. So who cares what they got to say? So the reason why the Heat worked is because they didn't care what nobody else had to say. Because if they would have listened to everybody else, they would have fell out. And they would have won nothing. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So what I'm trying to tell you is bad fits should not happen at certain levels. But again, people don't know what they bring to the table, really. Many people do not have a track record of helping other people become successful. They think they do, but they really don't. So when they put stuff together, they really sabotage it with their own work. Because let me show you something here. This is sabotaging his career. He didn't complain about it. He didn't say nothing about it. But this is because he goes to Miami and gets 1,000 yards. He goes to Detroit and gets 1,000 yards. The second year, Miami, he had 986. So you telling me as an older back, he got better? Most backs good the younger they are. So you telling me as he got older, he got better? This is sabotaging his career. So it wasn't that he was a bad fit in New Orleans. It was that they didn't know what to do with the dude. That was a problem. But again, who have these people helped become successful before that? So that's what I want you to understand. When you're talking about putting together a good organization, you need to really start looking at how do you put people in position to be successful. That's something we used to talk about in sports all the time. We used to tell people, we're going to put you in position to be successful. If you look at the way Atlanta does Bijan Robinson, everything about how they utilize him is for him to be really good. They don't put him in a position to where he can't be successful. They know what he brings to the table. They know what they have the ability to do. Let's put him in position where he can become successful. They don't say, hey, we're going to line you up. We're going to do 3 yards in a cloud of dust and we just going to let you get hurt. They don't put him in those type of positions because they know what they bring to the table. So here's a question you want to ask yourself. What are you building that puts people in the best position to be successful? Whether it's your children, whether it's the people around you, whether it's members of any organization that you're a part of, it's the people that you got working for you, the people that are contracted to you. What are you building that puts people in the best position to be successful? Because the reason why I'm not prideful, but I'm also not going to tell a lie, is that I've been able, by the grace of God, put people in position to be successful in what they're doing. It's not just about how much money I can make individually. It's not just about how big my personal audience is. It's not just about I got all this money because I've assembled this audience that I can live off of. And as long as they are downtrodden, they don't have nothing going for themselves, I can keep supporting my lifestyle. That's not what I built. But that's what most people have built, especially on the internet. Selling people gossip, selling people pornography, selling people foolishness, right? And that's how they got their whole life. But what are they doing that puts people in the best position to be successful? So that's what I'm asking you. You can make a lot of money doing a lot of different stuff in this world, but how is it putting somebody else in a position to be successful? Not just how are you getting it? And then how can you keep those people around you to maintain your lifestyle, but they're really not in the best position to be successful? I'm not going to build no platform so you can just get on here and comment about bad relationships. We're not doing that. Because again, if everybody you ever dealt with, it didn't work out and they doing bad, that say more about you than say about them. Okay? If you have sex with people and their whole life just go downhill, it say more about you than say about them. So you got to ask yourself, what are you building that puts somebody else in a position to be successful? And that becomes your brand. Your brand is that you elevate people, that you raise people up. Your brand is just not, I got it, but everybody around me don't have nothing. And I just keep adding to that audience because I just go find a bunch of people that don't have nothing. But I'm real entertaining, people like what I say, yada, 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 but there's really no takeaways to help that person's life out. So that's all I want to talk about. Not going to be here long, but I want to really get you to challenge yourself as a leader in whatever you're doing. What are you building that puts people in the best position to be successful? And is that your brand? Your brand is, I got a group of people that I can point to and say I was able to elevate those people and help them people out. Not that I got a bunch of people that jump on my YouTube and they complain. Not that I got a big following of people that are mad about stuff. Not that I got a bunch of people follow me because they want more foolishness. That's not my brand. My brand is I built something that puts the people that come through it in the best position to be successful. Because I believe the best way you change the world is you improve people. Not with machines and technology. It's people. That's how you change the world. That's how you make the world better. You improve people because people are in the world. So I don't believe what a lot of these quote unquote tech dudes believe is that we improve the world with technology. No, I believe you improve the world by improving people. And if we can make people improve their lives, we can improve the world. But everybody different. We come from different philosophies, right? So anybody got any questions? Anybody got any comments before we get up on out of here? We're at the 21-minute mark. So big up to Miss Brittany. Big up to Don. So these are all the people that are in leadership. Big up to Ramel Stanley, Davey Lee, Don Pierre Louis. What's up to Miss Phoenix? What's up to A. Moore? What's up to Anthony Bolton from Memphis? And what's up to Miss Brandy Williams, ACC Accounting Tax? So hit up Miss Brandy for your taxes. Everybody got an S Corp. You know, you got to report early. Appreciate it, Don. I want to encourage you to look at it not as an analysis, but look at it as business instruction. So I really do this in real life. I have people that are contracted to me. And one of the ways in which they can become more successful is if I put them in the best position to be successful. So when I'm talking about this from this particular situation, it's not theoretical. It's not just my ideas, and it's really not an analysis. It's what I'm trying to help you understand what allowed me to become successful. So you don't have to spend the amount of time it took me to spend. And you don't have to make some of the same mistakes I made, because when I was trying to figure a lot of this stuff out, there was nobody teaching me this stuff. So I had to figure it out through trial and error, right? Paying people, things of that nature. So what I'm trying to help you do is understand, if I'm 4 steps ahead of you, I can tell you what's 4 steps ahead. So then when you get up here, you already know what time it is. So that's really the goal of what I'm doing. But I appreciate the comment. What's up to Grace and Truth, man? Big up to West Orlando. Blessings to you and your situation. Okay, it looks like that's it. All right, man. Y'all stay safe, man. Stay encouraged. Have a great day. Stay productive.